So this is game 1 of a best of 3 with some TvT coming up. I've done something a bit weird. There we go. I learned something new accidentally right now. See down here, the race icons. In Game HUD you can hide those. Like, I did not know this was a thing. Wow. I've been using Game HUD for so long. How do I not know these little things? Anyway, let me introduce these two players who are battling it out on merry-go-round. To the south, representing Mouse, it's HeroMarine. And to the northwest, representing Millennium, it's DieStar. Terran v Terran. Oh yes. So what can you expect from TvT? I'm going to throw my money on mech or infantry. And depending, I was going to say you can guarantee Marines, but gone are those days because mech is like a thing now, which is actually really good. So, super exciting to see things go down. But yeah, refinery after the barracks just means we're going to be seeing Reaper out of DieStar, whereas HeroMarine going to be opening probably with some Hellions, because you can get a factory immediately by getting gas before the barracks. So what's the cool thing about merry-go-round? To be honest, the big thing is just that it's a 3-player map. That's the exciting thing. And I can't actually recall, is merry-go-round the map that has got the Horde and Alliance symbols on it somewhere? I don't know. I thought I saw something like that on Reddit the other day, but I see lots of things on Reddit about maps and I get distracted by maps. They're like something I really like. I like all the little cool little things, like this. What is this? How has it got its engine burning, but it isn't moving? How does that even work? This map's actually really cool though. Probably doesn't matter too much in a mirror matchup, but see this fence? Like this glass fence around the edge? Air units can't move over that. So, even though this map looks like it's got tons and tons and tons of dead space, there isn't actually too much. Anyway, Reaper on its way out, a reactor on the back of this. It is the first Reaper, so this is all cool. Meanwhile, HeroMarine is just like, yeah, factory, adding on, things going just as expected, and it's all cool. I like it when things go as planned. Meanwhile, couple of Marines out here. 2 Marines beat a Reaper as long as the Marines get the first shot off in a microed well. But of course the Reaper can run away, and with the aid of an SCV, doesn't actually do a terrible job. DieStar going to lose that Marine. Hero, he's an awesome player. I first actually met him at the ESED UK Masters around this time last year. Actually a bit earlier this time last year. And he's an awesome, incredible player because he's really young and he's just very talented. So excited to see if he's going to be able to qualify. Also excited to see if DieStar, who's very well known, very well established, manages to put on a good qualification run as well. Second gas now coming down for DieStar, who's adding in that command center as well as his own factory. Whereas HeroMarine is going to be going for Banshee most likely. But look at this. This lovely Reaper comes in and scouts. He's like, see that? That is tech lab and a starport. You're going for Banshee. As a result, starport should come out now from DieStar. And the best thing for DieStar to do now is grab a Viking out fast, then switch it over and get a Raven. Counter-stroke Banshee instantly. HeroMarine has a decent number of Marines and he's pushing across the map. His aim, just to try and pressure in case DieStar had been cutting his Marine production for whatever reason. But he hasn't, so he's all good. Hellion here as well for the Red Terran player who's expanding now a lot later than his opponent, who's already finished up his second orbital command. Gonna be floating that down sometime soon. And this is all nice and good. Engineering bay finished for DieStar, but he's not really doing much else. He's just adding in a missile turret to make sure he's definitely 100% safe from all of this Banshee nonsense. HeroMarine though, got Blink done. His Banshee's on its way forward. Cloak isn't finished yet, but he's already going to start picking off a couple of Marines. Cloak is still not done. Got to be careful, but in come Marines now. And they're both duking it out. Cloak is activated. That means that this Banshee would be safe, apart from a scan. Unfortunately, because its energy is really low, not going to be able to do much. Of course, we can see the shimmer of this Banshee. So the Viking following it. Nice little scan comes down. Is going to be able to take it down. Nice scan. Well used. And as a result, HeroMarine now lacking any further harassment possibilities, really. Only got the one Viking. Oh no, sorry, he has still got one Banshee. Looking at the wrong player there. One Banshee on its way through. Going to be trying to sneak around the back, but remember, missile turrets. Detection and damage against air. Good way to stop Banshee wrecking your mineral line. So, still keeping a close peek on really anything that these two could do. But, of course, TvT is such a strategic matchup. Incredibly important to get good positioning, get good drops, and just outmaneuver your opponent, as opposed to PvP or ZVZ, which tend to, at least in a lot of cases, come down to real micro wars. TvT not so much. TvT is much more about the macro and the positioning as opposed to the amazing micro potential. So, more tanks coming down on both sides. This Banshee doing a fairly good job actually. No kills yet, but preventing mining from this one gas because all of the SCVs having to be pulled away, because while the missile turret guards most of this mineral patch, Banshee can actually attack the refinery SCVs. Raven coming over, and that means one dead Banshee. An auto turret also being used. Interesting use of the energy there, because a Raven and Viking will eventually just chase this down, so not essentially done. Banshee coming in to the natural base as well. HeroMarine not done with this harassment yet. But over comes the Raven, over comes the Viking. Gonna be trying to stop all of this immediately. Checking what else HeroMarine does. But for the most part, he's getting into some more standard stuff. Neither player has actually gone for Stim yet. Combat Shield is the first Tech Lab upgrade that we see from HeroMarine. Whereas DieStar, he's just chilling without that, adding in 2 additional factories, so heading in towards a mech composition. More Vikings coming through, and a 3rd orbital command. You can, of course, get into some really nice spots going into a 3rd orbital fast with mech, and the reason you can afford to do it is because mech is a lot more gas heavy than bio-tank compositions, and as such, you've got more free minerals, and that means that you can afford to get these a lot sooner. So quick scan comes down from HeroMarine. He sees 3 additional factories and knows what's coming, and he's going to be wanting to get relatively aggressive, but unfortunately for him, that's a great siege up position for DieStar, and he crushes through that army nice and fast and deals a lot of damage. Quick little check on HeroMarine's base. He's not attempting, oh sorry, he is attempting to take a 3rd. DieStar adding in Blue Flame now, and Stim just on its way out for HeroMarine. Quick little sip of tea there. Apologies for the delay in my constant talking. But as of this point, I'm actually 4 hours into this stream. And it is on my 9th day consecutively streaming StarCraft 2 and casting it. So I've cast probably about 75 to 80 hours of StarCraft in that time. Which is pretty crazy to think about. Anyway, Vikings for HeroMarine going on a little bit of a detour here, heading up into the main base. 2 of them go down, I think. Oh no, there's only 1. But still, not able to really achieve anything with that, which is a bit annoying. Little look now, more Hellions pushing across. Good siege position though from HeroMarine at this watchtower, gonna prevent it. This scan really important. That was such a critical scan because HeroMarine was looking to see if he was about to get basically flanked. HeroMarine was just gonna avoid the tanks in the middle, so DieStar was. So HeroMarine now able to reposition, preventing DieStar from being able to do too much. DieStar though is expanding to his 3rd base, which HeroMarine is also attempting now to do. So both of these 2 players on a relatively similar economic footing. Small group of tanks heading in from the left here, just keeping a close peek on anything else that could be going on. Still moving forward, little takedown there, Blue Flame being very, very effective against taking out Marines. But it's the tanks that are going to be the real important piece for HeroMarine. Because despite DieStar having a mech composition, tanks, once they're sieged up, are very, very good. More factories in production right now for DieStar, so he's just upping his production. These Vikings again for HeroMarine, getting caught out of position and just going down for nothing, and that's reflected in the resources lost. About 700 more resources down for HeroMarine compared to that of DieStar. Economically, still neck and neck. Like, this is such a minor difference, it's not even worth thinking about. Double Banshee production now coming out. Actually, it's, yeah, double Banshee production coming out from HeroMarine, as well as pumping out a good number of Vikings. So he's looking to counter this mech force with a lot of Banshee. And he can do that as long as he keeps the Viking count low, because there's not much anti-air inherently in Terran mech, especially in TvT, because Thors aren't really fantastic for anything else. So scans still coming down every which way, both players wanting to know where the other's positioned, what they're doing, and how they're trying to do it. +1 on its way out, and oh my goodness, we've got battle cruisers. Cattle bruisers. Where is the fusion core? Where is it, fusion core? Dance for us. Dance, fusion core. Do it. It will do it. It will. Anyway, Center Tower, of course, gives HeroMarine advance notice that there's stuff here. So he goes for a little scan of it. Sees, yep, that's quite a lot of stuff you've got. And my tanks are not in a position to stop it. Repositioning those tanks through, running in with the infantry. DieStar's tanks also not sieged. Both players trying to get into a good siege position. The battle for the air favouring HeroMarine for now. The Marines, the only remaining anti-air for DieStar. Now gone. A couple of Hellions though pushing up. They've got Blue Flame, remember. And while the battle cruisers are on their way, they take so long to make. SCV's trying to fight Hellions with Blue Flame. Not the best situation to be in, but DieStar losing a lot of his army now. Down to only 55 army supply compared to the 71 of HeroMarine. HeroMarine's first battle cruiser here, the second one, a bit confused. Always been revealed, it was spotted coming out. And so now we should see some Thor production. High impact payload is going to be essential in order to try and deal with these, since the Viking count is so heavily in HeroMarine's favour. Pushing forward now, Missile Charge is going to buy a bit of time, but there's Banshee in a nice position. That scan, just taking a look at how much of an army's here. Of course, the battle cruiser's getting some decent damage down, the tank's in a nice spot, the Vikings getting taken out. No Yamato cannons, so can't deal with these missile turrets super quickly. One Thor goes down, trying to become its single air target damage dealer with those high impact Thor hammer, no, not Thor hammer, with its Punisher cannons, dealing 26 damage per hit rather than the Javelin missiles, which obviously do splash damage. Still waiting to see exactly what can be achieved here. The battle cruiser count up to 3, but they don't have any upgrades, whereas the air for DieStar does have upgrades, thanks to it sharing the mech upgrades with ground. A lot of Vikings being produced simultaneously right now from DieStar, and HeroMarine does still have 7, but needs to make sure he keeps that kind of air advantage, because that's where he's got a lot to really play with. Yamato cannon on its way out now for these battle cruisers, and that of course means the fusion core is doing its dance. I wish you could chrono boost the fusion core just so you could speed that up. It'd be awesome. So Vikings still waiting to pick off anything the DieStar gets a little too close with these battle cruisers with. But he's backing away. And this scan from DieStar reveals the retreat is in full effect. Upgrades now for HeroMarine. The 1 mech upgrades. Of course also benefiting air. Gonna be buffing up these battle cruisers into some quite scary things. 4th CC coming down for DieStar, but the 4th command center already placed and morphing into an orbiter command here for HeroMarine. He has got a solid kind of economic edge, despite being down in workers. Overall economy will actually favour HeroMarine, and all of that is because of the fact that he's got 1 additional base. So the spread of his workers is better, which means that while he's got less, they're mining more efficiently from each base. We can see that there is a bit of oversaturation here at the natural, sitting at 14. Actually, no, it's not even over. Sorry, DieStar oversaturated at 37 of 24 here, so massively oversaturated there. His main, of course, mined as well. So very important those additional bases. DieStar in the Viking count up 14 compared to 10, and that makes it very important that HeroMarine keeps his battle cruisers safe. He has got to make sure that he gets a decent amount of Vikings out, just so the Vikings of DieStar can't wreck his battle cruisers, which is really where HeroMarine is pinning all of his hopes. No sign of any Seeker missiles or any Ravens or anything like that, but still we wait. Repositioning all the time. As I said, TvT 100% about who can get in the better position first. Yamato Cannon going to be aiming for those Thors, wants to take them out ASAP. Doesn't take them out in one shot though. The Vikings on Viking action going quite well, but of course HeroMarine having his battle cruisers focus as opposed to his Vikings, so he does now gain air superiority. One battle cruiser has died, but all the rest surviving, and they can be repaired up. Remember, battle cruisers have 550 health and 4 armor with only +1 armor. So they actually are very tanky units, incredibly strong. So, keeping a close peek. What else are we going to get? Got the continued battlecruiser production coming through. Viking count favouring HeroMarine by a substantial amount. The overall supply favouring HeroMarine. But DieStar's up in workers, so the army supply is the important thing to look at. Currently sitting at 120 to 72. More scans coming through. Trying to keep a close peek on precisely where HeroMarine is and if he's a threat. And this is allowing this counterattack to come through. It is a bold move. And with the lift, HeroMarine is just like, lol, nope, not dealing with this. Backs out. And he now comes over with all of his force, so he's going to get 4 tanks and a lot of Hellbats. Not for free, but for very little. The natural base may lose a couple of workers, but in total, DieStar's killed 27 workers so far, which is keeping HeroMarine a bit low on his SCV count, but he's just got to move the base. He's taken a 5th now, and that means economically speaking, he's in a great spot. Getting into the very late game, as it stands, a couple of Marauders attempting to duke it out with these Vikings and a Thor, not wanting to take the fight to the end. And well, still, this is crazy. This is getting very tense because HeroMarine is just building up a much more sizable force. 125 to 80 is a big army supply lead. DieStar adding in the Ravens I think is a wise move. Also getting the Corbin reactor, but engagement now coming through. HeroMarine with a lot more battle cruisers. The first Seeker missile already targeted, and against air Seeker missiles are very good. The Thors though getting focused down quickly. They're not even attacking these battle cruisers, which are just crushing through. GG right there, and HeroMarine takes game number 1 of this best of 3.